Welcome to Property Mama. This is where I share my adventures in real estate over nearly three decades of buying and selling real estate. If we've not met before, my name is Wendy Chamberlain and I am a buyer's advocate, buyer's agent, and vendor advocate here in Melbourne, Australia. I've been getting some great feedback from people that I'm speaking to and meeting about Property Mama. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching and providing that feedback. As always, if you've got comments or any particular topics you'd like me to cover, please just shoot those across in the comments and we'll have a look at those. In previous episodes, if you've tuned in, you would have heard me talking about this negotiation that we did to buy a property in the lead up to Christmas last year. And previous episode, I said, well, we were in the process of the negotiation, and the agent had got themselves worked up to such a level that they called my clients liars. I told my clients what had been said, and then I was raked over the coals by the agent for telling the truth to my clients. So the saga continued. That wasn't the end of it. So the negotiations went back and forth for quite a number of days, and it became crystal clear to me that the agent had nobody else that was interested in the property or that was in a position to be able to buy the property. The property was auctioning on that Saturday. The owners had moved into state. They were going to have to come down for an auction, which was going to be pretty much a non-event because there's only going to be us there. And so they were pushing hard. The agents were pushing so hard to get an offer. And I could tell that there was nobody else there. And so by the Thursday, and we'd made an offer earlier in the week, and there was some negotiation going back and forth, which is what happens. So real estate can be a bit of a game of patience. It certainly is a game of knowing what you are doing and being able to read the play and I've got pretty well honed spidey senses around speaking with agents and what they're saying versus what they might be meaning. The two things don't always marry up. Yes, agents can be fluid with the truth sometimes. So you have to navigate that minefield to try and work out what is truth, what is a little bit not quite close to the truth, and see how you go with that. So I don't know why it is with when it comes to buying real estate and negotiating, often it ends up happening at night as well. And I've been thinking about this, and I'm thinking, well, because we often buy properties off market, and the last two that we've purchased for clients have been off market as well, which means they're not advertised to the public. So we get access to these properties before the general public see them. And when my clients go out and look at them, or if I go with my clients to go and have a look at these properties, usually it's during the day, and then there's a little bit of think time and just lining up the ducks that we need in order to get a deal together. By the time we start making the offer and everything, it's often 5 o'clock, which becomes 6 o'clock, and then deals are often done 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. It just seems to be the nature of the industry. So this deal ended up being no different because we were Thursday by this point, auction that was coming on the Saturday, and the agent was trying really, really hard to massage the details of the deal because what they were proposing, my clients weren't interested in. They were interested in the property, but on the terms that suited them. But the vendor wanted different terms, and the agent, I was smelling a bit of desperation with the agents because if they've got nobody that's going to turn up on Saturday to bid except us, and we're already negotiating with them and we're trying to get all these terms together, and our clients were prepared to walk away. And I was making that clear to them, to the real estate agent, that we needed to get something sorted out here that was going to be suitable for us. Obviously, you've got the vendor's considerations to take into the equation, but I'm not working for the vendor. I'm not working for the real estate agent. I am working for my clients. So it is my job to do the very best and get the best outcome that I can for my clients. So the agent will suggest things, and I would say, look, I'll talk to my clients. I would hang out with the agent. I'd speak to my clients. We'd have a conversation. and I ring the agent back, and this would go back and forth because I am conveying the information for my client so they can make an informed decision. So this has gone back and forth all day on the Thursday, and I thought I'd finished the conversation. 8 o'clock, the phone rings, and it's the agent. And I said, are you lonely? Because no, I've got another idea of we can do this and massaging it in another way. I said, okay, well, look, my clients have been pretty firm on telling me what the parameters are for the deal that they want, in relation to the price, in relation to the terms. So yeah, but there's this and we can do this. I said, okay, I'll relay that back to them. So I did. I hung up with the agent, and then I rang my clients, and they're like, listening, they go, well, look, we can look at this tomorrow. I said, yeah, we can. I just thought I'd convey that information to you. And I said, okay, that's fine. We'll think about it, and we will speak to you tomorrow. I said, okay, all good. The gets to 10 p.m. and the phone rings again, and it's the agent. It's 10 p.m. I pick up the phone. I said, are you sure you're not lonely? And he goes, no. I've got this other idea. I go, are you sure? And he's like, no. He had his bag of tricks there, and he was pulling everything out of his little bag of tricks to try and get this deal together. So I said, look, okay, I will speak to them. And my clients were in bed, so I'm not going to ring my clients. So in the morning, had a conversation with my clients about what had been proposed. Now, my clients were standing firm on the terms that they wanted, and I conveyed this all back to the agent. And it ended up, so this had been a 5-day negotiation by this point. The auction was the next day, and they had nobody else. And so I can tell you, they would have been riding their vendor hard to get them to take the deal. Because, as I'd mentioned, it was probably a passion project that they'd purchased only about 18 months earlier, so they were going to lose money on the project. But it was their decision to, for their own circumstances, to move interstate and sell the property. That's their decision to make. So with any property, and I have this conversation with vendor clients that we work with as well, you might have an idea of the price of your property in your mind. However, the market will tell you what your property is worth. The market does not care about all of these improvements that you've made to the property and how much money you've spent on the property and what your circumstances are, and if those circumstances have changed that you need to sell the property, and in order to sell the property you need X price. The market doesn't care about that. All the market cares about, the buyer coming in cares about, is where are they seeing the value of the property compared to other properties that they've looked at in the area, compared to what is sold in the area, and also probably in the mix of what their budget is and what they're prepared to spend. And so as much as you can feel for a vendor who needs to achieve a certain price to take that next step for themselves on their property journey, I'm working for my client, and it's important for me to protect my client for this process. And if the deal's not going to come together, the deal's not going to come together. I'm never going to shoehorn my client into a property that doesn't suit them, is way over their budget, is not the spec that we've discussed. I'm not going to do it. So these are the conversations that I have to have with the real estate agent. So my client was firm on their price, on the terms, none of all these that the agent was trying to do. Because it's like, look over here, look over here. No, these are the terms that we're offering. And so they had to go back to their vendor and let them know that, which they did. And then, lo and behold, the vendor accepted our terms, which was fantastic, because we were going to basically walk away. We weren't going to negotiate anymore. And by this point, I don't even think we're going to go to the auction, because this process and how the real estate agent had behaved had put a real bad taste in the mouth of our client in wanting to deal in any way, shape, or form with that real estate agent. So this is the challenge when it comes to buying real estate, is that you don't get to choose who the real estate is, the agent is that's been appointed by the seller that you're having to deal with. I mean, that's my job to do. I work with my clients to shield them from all of these shenanigans that you've been hearing about on all my property mamas, because it goes on all the time. And they don't want to have to deal with that. So they come to me, and I work in conjunction with my clients to deal with the agent and see where we can get with getting them to buy a property. So the buyer doesn't get to choose the real estate agent. And unfortunately, you've just got to navigate that. And I can do that. I can navigate that. Some of the conversations that I have with real estate agents, I hang up the phone and I go, what on earth was that? But on the phone, I'm with them. I'm Switzerland, because you can't let emotions get involved in here in what you're doing. And this is what happened in this negotiation on the second day, where that agent got so emotionally worked up because with me, they're hitting a wall, they're hitting a brick wall, because I'm not emotionally invested in the process of buying the property for my client. I love my clients and I love buying houses for my clients, and I love that look on their face when they've bought a house. And when you're working with a client where they are frustrated, they are jaded, they've been struggling to buy a property, often it can be over a number of, weeks, but months and even years. We've had clients come who have been looking for years to buy a property, and they've just not been able to get it together to buy a property. And so when I get that look on their face when I can say to them, we've just bought you a house, you're now a homeowner. It's just wild. I love it. I love it. So that's my job, to buy houses for clients. And it can be a very emotional process. We work with a lot of first home buyers, and often pregnant first home buyers. So you can imagine the hormones running around, and it's exhausting. It can be exhausting looking for properties, because you're generally, unless you're looking in one particular suburb, you're not going to get to all the properties. They're open for half an hour on a Saturday, often midweeks, but then you've got to jump in your car, dash to one, get out, have a look, jump back in your car, dash to the next one, because the agent's not going to wait for you. You've got a 30-minute slot to get there. So we're able to organise private inspections for our clients. They're not having other people there at the same time, and they can take their time and actually look at properties. So if you're looking at more than one suburb, there's no way you're going to get through to all those properties on a Saturday. So you've got to wait for the next week, and then the next week, and the next week. And depending on what a market is doing, then you might be chasing the market, because when a market is on the trajectory of going up, then the likelihood is you're not going to be able to save as fast as the market is moving. That's just the reality of it. So when you come and work with us at Chamberlain Advocates, we are there as your independent sounding board. We work with you for as long as it takes. Now, my quickest to buy property for a client is 1 day. 1 day. Because I have established relationships, as my advocates do. We have established relationships with real estate agents, and they know that if I give them a call, that I'm calling because I have a client who is cashed up, ready to buy, ready to go. I have enough experience to know how to line up the ducks, what ducks need to be in the line. That's the first point. When you're buying real estate, know which ducks you've got to line up. Then you've got to work out which ducks are in the line and which ones are going to be doing their thing first. They know that we're coming in with that experience. And this is how we can put deals together quickly with all our due diligence steps in place. So the rights and the protection mechanisms are in there for our clients. And we buy real estate. So it is not unusual to buy property in 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. Took a couple of weeks recently. I thought that was a bit slow, but it can take as long as it takes, because if a property is going to auction and it won't be sold before, The auction, which happens with the deceased estates, for example, that or where there's multiple parties that have an interest in a property, it can be easiest just to send it to auction. I talked about that in a previous Property Mama episode where they didn't want to, there was 12 parties involved in the sale and it was easier to send it to auction, failed building and pest, but then sold ridiculously high under competition, which is why I like off markets, getting off markets, why my clients like buying properties off market. And at least 50% of the real estate market is never public. And I think this blows people's minds when it comes to looking at properties. So if you're only looking at realestate.com.au or domain.com.au, you are missing out on half of the opportunities to secure your new home. Come and speak to us at Chamberlain Advocates. We are here to support you and help you. And we have those established relationships over nearly 3 decades of doing this, that when I ring an agent and they pick up the phone and I say what our spec is to them, they will tell me what they've got available. And I'm getting messages all the time. I'm getting text messages. I'm getting emails of properties that are available before they hit the open market. Now, you're not necessarily getting a bargain. It's not always about getting a bargain. However, if you have an opportunity to buy something before anyone else gets involved, you haven't got that competition. So many of you watching my Property Mama episodes would know, either have experienced or know someone that has experienced when they've gone to an auction or to negotiate to purchase a property and the price that's been advertised as the sale price is nowhere near, at the end of the day when the property gets sold, what the property gets sold for. And this is what happens with auctions. It's one of the reasons why agents like to have properties go to auction. Number one is it's an unconditional sale on the day. So in Victoria, it's sale under the hammer. So if you go along to an auction and you bid on a property under the hammer and the auctioneer sells it to you under the hammer falls to you, you are buying that property. There's no get out of clause. They will come dashing over to you and take you inside to sign the paperwork because you're the winning bidder and you're the one that's going to be buying that property. And so there's no finance clauses under the hammer, nothing like that. And 3 days either side of an auction in Victoria, there's no cooling off either. So it's another reason why agents consider it to be a cleaner form of a sale, because you can't cool off, which means either side of an auction you can put terms on. So you can buy subject to finance, but you can't cool off. So that's one of the reasons why agents love auctions. It's also very transparent and it brings finality to a campaign. So if something is offered for sale and it's just private sale and there's no end date on it as such, there's no urgency for some buyers. When you're looking at something, you go, oh yeah, well, I'll look at that. And you go, I'll look at this one and that one. You're looking at multiple properties at the same time. However, if something is being auctioned, on that Saturday or on that day, whatever day they're doing it, at that time, the auctioneer is going to be there. They're going to do their preamble. They're going to put the property on the market and call for bids and so forth. It's going to be there available for buying. May get passed in, but there's an opportunity for you to then bid on the property and buy it. And so there's that finality, if you like. So we as humans, if we've got a deadline to meet, it motivates you. Same with an expression of interest campaign where there's a date, sale by set date or expression of interest by this particular date. In your mind as a buyer, right, I have to get myself sorted, work out what I'm doing. Is this the property? Do I want to actually offer on this property or bid on this property by this date? So that's where auctioning properties comes in. I also do like auctions insofar as they are transparent now that they won't take bids from trees anymore like they used to do back in the day. An auctioneer can put in what is called a vendor bid, and that is a bid on behalf of the vendor. And auctioneers will often do that to get proceedings started, because you may have gone to an auction and they call for a start and it's crickets. No one's prepared to get started. And so an auctioneer will often put in a vendor bid, and they'll say there clearly that they're putting in a vendor bid, and it's basically a starting point to get things started. Now, a vendor bid is not the bid that the property is going to sell at. They're not putting it on the market at that level. It's just a starting point. So it's an opportunity to invite buyers in to then start bidding. And if it doesn't reach the reserve, the property will be passed in to the highest bidder. If no one has bid, it's a free-for-all. So that's why if you're attending an auction and you're interested in a property, but you're not bidding to the level where it's on the market, and the property is going to be passed in, and it will be clear that the property is being passed in, because the auctioneer will tell you that the property is going to be passed in. Make sure that you are the underbidder, or you're the one that has placed the most recent bid, because you will have an exclusive right for 15 minutes to negotiate to purchase the property. So you may have been to an auction and you'll see people hanging around outside. The auction's finished and people are inside. If the property hasn't sold, now the people hanging around are probably going to be neighbours and sticky beaks and so forth like that. However, there will be buyers that are there waiting to see what happens. So the person that has the property passed into them has the first right of refusal. So you'll be taken into the property and you'll be told what the auction reserve is, and then you can choose or decide whether or not you wish to buy the property for that, negotiate, goes back and forth. And this is why these after auction negotiations can take a little while. Often they can take hours. They can even go into the next day or so. And it's also because of the 3 days cooling off not being available, or 3 days either side of the auction. It's why after an auction has taken place on a Saturday, you'll very, very commonly see properties open for inspection on the Monday and the Tuesday night, because it's immediately after an auction has taken place and it's still within those 3 days of the cooling off. So yes, you can negotiate to purchase a property within those days of an auction happening, but you can't cool off. You can't change your mind. You can put clauses on, you can buy subject to finance or whatever the vendor is willing to accept to get their property sold, but you can't cool off. And it's why there's often those opens the day or two, those days after an auction takes place. So if you're not confident at auction, it's what we do as well. We will bid at auction for clients as well. We will negotiate to purchase a property for clients. And we additionally have our various full services that we offer, which gives you access to that amazing world of off-market opportunities. So if you've been hunting for a while and you're getting frustrated by the process, we are here. We would love to work with you. Please reach out and get in touch and we can have a conversation. There's a no obligation conversation that we have with you to understand what your challenges are, and then how we can share with you how we can support you to buy that beautiful dream property that you are longing to buy. And as I said, I get excited when my clients have that look on the face of when I recently worked with a pregnant couple, and they will be bringing their beautiful new baby home to their new home. They'll be able to move before Bub arrives, and so they'll be coming directly home to their new beautiful new home, first home they've ever purchased, and that excites me. That's why I do what I do. It's why we at Chamberlain Advocates do what we do. So please reach out if you are in the process at the moment of buying a property. Perhaps you have your pre-approval in place and it's about to expire, because we work with clients out there. We've only got 2 weeks on our pre-approval. I said 1 day's my quickest. So we will get it done for you. We will support you and protect you through the whole process while we're here. So thanks again for watching. Look forward to chatting again soon, and bye-bye for now.